You may be asking yourself, when am I ever going to use this? We ask ourselves that quite a bit when we learn new things, but in this case, it's about your money, and every paycheck counts. When will you not need to use this? It's your money, and the goal here is to manage it wisely because that's just as important as earning new money. Dollar saved is a dollar earned. So let's talk about money management in your paycheck. First of all, question for you. What percent of all American workers live from paycheck to paycheck? What that means is they have no money left in the bank at the end of the month, and they may even have still bills to pay. The wallet's empty. The other question is, what percent of professional basketball players file for bankruptcy just 5 years after retirement? And my last question here is, maybe you can think of some famous, wealthy celebrities who have gone broke. Well, why do we need to know this? Because this could happen to you if you're not educated about your own money. Could this happen to you? Well, you might think you have a really good job. You might think, I'm good at math. I can multiply, subtract, divide, do all these things. Or maybe my parents are paying for college. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones who has that going for you. Well, it doesn't matter because these things happen to people who are very well off and still suffer financial hardship. The answer to the question from the other slide was 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck or from hand to mouth. They need next month's paycheck just to pay the first bills of the next month. Nobody's saving anything is what that means. They need to get some savings and get ahead of the game so they're not living paycheck to paycheck. Regarding NBA players, 60% of retired NBA players file for bankruptcy within 5 years of retirement. That's scary. These guys make millions of dollars a year. It's not just NBA. The NFL has 78% of players filing for bankruptcy, saying they're out of money just 2 years after they retire. These guys make more money in their lifetime, or more money in a year, than many Americans make in their lifetime. So can this happen to you? It can if you have bad planning, bad financial skills, bad discipline. That's what we're trying to prevent here. It's not just athletes. There's all kinds of stories of celebrities and everybody else all over the internet who have come up against tremendous financial hardship. Okay, you've got rock and roll stars here. You've got hip hop moguls. You've got actors, actresses. You've even got royalty here. Sarah Ferguson's related to the Queen of England, one of the wealthiest women who's ever lived. So it does happen to wealthy people. Why does it happen to them, though? Bad money skills. Maybe they made a really bad investment. Maybe they had people who they couldn't trust managing their money for them. But really, we want to prevent that for you. It can happen to ordinary people as well. Here's an interesting study from the National Endowment for Financial Education. They say as many as 70% of Americans, common people, who experience a financial windfall, that means they won the lottery, or they had a lawsuit decided in their favor, or they got a big inheritance. You've got a big chunk of change, and people generally lose that money within just a few years. So we need to be smart about our money, and the goal of this course is to make sure you understand it right from the ground up. So we're going to start with your paycheck. When are you going to use it? Every 2 weeks of your working life. Most people are going to have to work for a living, and so we want to make sure that every dollar counts for you. Here's a sample paycheck. It's very simple. It's probably a teenager's paycheck. Notice his hourly rate here is $9 per hour. It's John Doe. He lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we're just going to look at this example real quick and understand some basics about how your pay works. First of all, your gross pay is your total money earned. It's your hourly wage, $9 an hour in this case, times total hours. 50 hours a week? Nope, that's a 2-week pay period. Most pay periods are. So this kid's working 25 hours a week probably at $9 an hour. Well, you can do the math, right? $9 per hour times 50 hours gives him $450 for this pay period. What's this over here? That says year to date. Okay, and we'll get to that in a minute. Your gross pay can also include overtime pay, which you get paid time and a half. It's like a 50% raise, at least for those hours you work overtime. It can include commissions, especially if you're in a sales field. Most money made by salespeople is based on commissions. If you work in private sector, you can get a Christmas bonus or a seasonal bonus. These are all good things to think about. So gross pay is just the dollars you have coming in. Don't forget that your total compensation, if you're lucky and you work at a job that has benefits, hopefully the benefits are a significant part of your compensation, like health care, dental care, vision care, and a retirement. These are very important things, but they're not part of your gross pay. They're part of your gross compensation, but not your dollars here. So, as I said, this year to date is just the year to date. Looks like this guy's been only working for 2 pay periods, of which this is the second one. Looks like he started in mid-May. So there's what these numbers mean. Don't forget that acronym. Year to date is his total for the year. So he's only been working, I think, 2 pay periods. So we did the math here. You understand where that comes from. 50 hours times $9 an hour gives him $450. What about deductions? These are things that are taken out from your paycheck. Now, rarely, but it does happen for young people, you don't make enough money to pay federal income tax. Notice this is a 0. And Wisconsin, the state where this guy lives, if there's no federal income tax, there's usually no state income tax. Some states don't deduct any income tax at all. Those states are rare, though, so this guy is not having any deductions taken out for federal tax because he probably didn't make enough yet this year. These deductions here, though, FICA, also known as Medicare, this is about 1.5% of his total gross earnings, and so they take out a few dollars for that. FICA, Social Security, okay, these dollars are dollars that go towards a retirement account that hopefully he can get to when he's older. Okay, Medicare pays for some medical expenses after the age of 62, and that age could change by the time you get there. So these are all his deductions. Notice $25.92 and $608 add up to $32 exactly. So why does this matter to you? Because it's money coming out of your check. You need to understand it. Your net pay is what you call your take-home pay, and this guy's paycheck, this bottom half of the pay stub here, this is what he takes to the bank or is automatically deposited. And so $450, his gross pay, minus the total deductions, $32 equals $418, his net pay or his take-home pay. So you got to understand that basic equation. 450 minus 32 equals 418. That's your net pay. The better you understand that, the better you're going to be able to manage your money. So how are these determined? These FICA things, these Social Security, Medicare, these are already determined. Can't change them. Social Security is about 6.2%, and there is a cap. If you're a really high earner, like over 100, about 120,000, you don't have to pay any more after the 120,000. Okay, you pay up to that amount, and after that, you don't pay again. Medicare is 1.5% for just about everybody. Federal and state taxes, you do have some say in this, okay? But be careful, okay? If you take out too little federal and state taxes, you may owe money at the end of the year. You do have to pay them, and it's easier to take it out as you go. So how do you decide how much is taken out as you go? Well, when you first get your job, they'll ask you to fill out a W-4 form. You are asked to list these allowances here based on you and whether or not you have a family, whether or not you have kids. Okay, there are other exemptions as well that allow you to take out less money. But what this is you choose the number of allowances, and they give you little worksheets to help you decide that. But this is what you claim on your W-4, and that determines, right, how much money is taken out of your paycheck. More allowances means less money deducted. Fewer allowances means more money will be taken out. But everybody's got to pay, well, almost everybody's got to pay taxes, so make sure you don't make the mistake that a lot of people make. You may ask yourself, well, why do I want any money taken out? Can I just claim enough allowances or enough exemptions to where no money's taken out? It's possible, but you've got to be certain you won't owe taxes. You take out too little taxes at the end of the year, you may owe the government. And you have to pay that immediately out of pocket. And if you can't, there's fines, there's penalties, and there may even be jail time. If you think this won't happen to you, I can tell you it happened to Al Capone, probably the most notorious gangster of the 20th century. The feds gave him an all-expenses-paid vacation to Alcatraz Island. It's a prison in San Francisco Bay. You may have seen it. He died there. So Al Capone, a very powerful man, did get thrown in jail and died there because he didn't pay his federal income taxes. So when you do this W-4 thing, don't worry about going to prison just yet, but get it right. Understand what these numbers mean. Understand your allowances. And if you're not sure, check with your parents. Check with a financial advisor about how you do these allowances and these exemptions so that you don't owe taxes at the end of the year. If you take out too much, guess what? You get money back at the end of the year when you do your taxes. So let's take a closer look at a more involved paycheck because we want you to be successful. We hope you have a big paycheck with a lot of money and more deductions. So let's look at a more detailed example here. Jane Harper here, looks like she's from the state of New York. She earns a bunch of money. She makes $10 an hour, but she's earned quite a bit more. Notice her year to date here is about $23,000 to $24,000. So let's zoom in so we can see it better here. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about gross pay. How much money does she make? What hourly rate is she paid? How many hours did she work at the regular rate? How many hours of OT? Take a look. Looks like her hourly rate is 10 bucks an hour, and she did 32 hours. Well, 10 times 32 is 320. That's her gross pay for just regular time. She had 1 hour of overtime. That's time and a half. So 1.5 times 10 is $15. For that 1 hour, she made 15 bucks an hour. Not bad. So you add these two numbers up. Oh, and what's this last one? No, it looks like the company paid her 8 hours of holiday pay. Maybe there was a holiday pay in there, President's weekend or one other holiday. But either way, she gets 80 bucks in holiday pay, even though she didn't really work those hours. That's paid holiday. That's good. Looks like she got some tuition money here. Probably she paid it up front, and the company refunded her money or reimbursed her for that money. So you add all these numbers up, and you get this 452.43. What's next? Her deductions. Now, we talked about federal income tax. There it is. Okay, Social Security tax. There it is. This was called FICA on the, Social Security was called FICA on the other form. Medicare is also part of FICA. So these things look differently on different checks. You got to understand what they are because the words aren't always the same, but you should understand what they are. New York State does charge some state income tax. Wherever there's federal tax, there's usually state income tax as well, unless it's a state that doesn't charge it. Those are few. New York City, looks like New York City has an income tax. Most cities don't have an income tax, but New York City does. Now this last one here, it's not much money, it's just 60 cents, but I want to talk about this. SUI is state unemployment insurance. What this means is if she loses her job, this money goes into a fund where she can collect unemployment. So most workers have to pay this. Not everyone collects it. You only collect it if you lost your job and you had to collect unemployment. SDI, if you got an injury on the job, this is state disability insurance. Everybody pays into it, but people who get injured on the job, they can get a paycheck if they can't work or if they have reduced hours. So that's what disability is. So everybody pays into that. So these are new deductions we didn't talk about. This last one down here, union dues. Looks like she's a member of a union, so she pays $5 every pay period to go to her union. What that money does is it helps the union pay for its expenses because they organize and they negotiate better salaries and benefits and working conditions for the people who are a member of the union. The big one I'm going to talk about here is at the bottom. First of all, stock plan. Looks like she's investing. Notice these are deductions, hence the minus sign. She's deducting $15 to pay for stock or buy stock in the company, perhaps. She's paying $5 into a life insurance plan. In case she dies, there will be a payment to her family or her heirs or whoever she names as the beneficiary. And she looks like she took out $30 for a loan, so I'm not sure what that is, but there you go. The big one is this 401k. Notice the asterisk here. The asterisk means this deduction is deducted before she pays her federal taxes. What's so important about this? A 401k is a retirement plan, and she puts money into that account before it's taxed. So it has a number of benefits. First of all, she pays fewer taxes this pay period. That's an immediate benefit. Second of all, this money goes into a retirement account. It's hers. It's in her name. She gets to invest it and choose how it's invested, and it earns interest, all tax-free. It's a great way to plan for retirement. Many companies match that retirement deduction that she's made, and so if you can get free money, in other words, if she makes a deposit into a retirement plan and the company matches it, then she's getting free money. The company is donating money to her retirement, and that is a great thing. You've got to be aware of that and make sure you take advantage of it. So, what are the keys to your financial success from your paycheck? First of all, pay attention. Too many people just deposit their check, don't even look at it, don't check the hours, don't worry about whether the company paid them properly for all their hours or is paying them at the right rate. Check it, get out a calculator, look closely. It's your money. It matters to you more than anyone else. And when you do get that money, have a plan. Decide how much you need to spend and don't spend more. Don't waste your hard-earned money. Every dollar that you save can go into an account that will grow. It's called paying yourself first. When you start paying yourself first and putting money into a fund for you, it'll grow faster and it'll grow more than you can ever imagine, and you can plan for retirement. Besides, many people go through financial hardships. If something unexpected happens and you got a big bill to pay, or someone gets sick and you don't have any money in the bank at all, life can get real hard real fast. Set some money aside, develop a cushion, have a safety net, And best of all, start planning for retirement. Grow money quickly and grow money early. Remember these people? They didn't manage their money wisely. Don't let poor skills make your financial life difficult. Put your money to work for you by managing it wisely.